Hello and welcome to the Airfix 148th Mosquito 633 Squadron build part 1. And as you can see, I've just made a little start, done the interior of the fuselage walls. Nothing too fancy, just basic colours, just picking out a few of the instruments on the side. As you can see, just put a little bit of a dark wash on the inside there as well, just to make it look a bit worn, and also done the cockpit instrument panel and also the seats. Again, just gave it a little bit of a weather just to make it look a bit more used. And the next thing we'll be doing is installing this into the fuselage and putting the two halves together. Now instantly the actual instrument panels and cockpit area what I'm holding is actually too wide, so I've had to take off quite a bit of plastic on either side just so that I can actually close up the fuselage without having massive gaps. So we'll carry on from here and I'll be back. Okay, we're back and I'm now going to start installing the interior, and as I said, it was being a tight fit overall, so I'm just going to double check everything before I glue everything in, and then hopefully we can have a completed fuselage. It's not been a great deal of time spent on it because this is just the very basic start of the instructions, so everything has sort of come on pretty sort of easy really. So everything's looking fine. I'll use my trusty plastic weld and see how we go from here. Making sure I get all the areas that I can. Just leave that for a few seconds just to set. All the areas I missed there. I think we're doing well. Not sure about the front end of the nose here because that's floating, but we'll just give that a little dab of glue. And also on the back here needs to be located. It's all looking good. Give a few other places I've missed. Make sure we don't leave anything to chance. One thing we don't want is the cockpit to collapse inside us once we've closed everything up. She's looking good there. And we'll put the tail wheel in before we forget. Now, I have to look at the instructions for that. This is what you get for not preparing yourself. Okay. There we go. Right, so I'll give that a couple of splashes of the old glue. Right, now think what we'll do is we'll give this another test fit, see how she looks. I mean, as you can see there, even now there's still a gap, but at least we can pull that in and hold that together with some elastic bands until the glue is set. But everything else, whoops, that snapped in nicely. Yeah, I think we could be good to go. So we'll carry on. Let's grab ourselves some elastic bands. Nope. Before I do anything, I will just put the windows in, although you will find eventually that they won't be as important as what you think, but we will put them in nevertheless. Should have done this first really, but make life a lot harder now, but we'll get there. And a trusty knife. Like I say, these aren't going to be super important, but might as well put them in now. Oh, lost one. Apologies if I'm not in the camera. So I should go that way. Okay, one other thing before we start to think about tidying up the seams is I'm going to put the Bombay doors on, because this is a bulged Bombay. It's not quite fitting nicely, but once we've got the glue and the old elastic bands on again, I think we might have a lovely little connection there. So let's get the glue on. Again, just running around the seam, nothing too heavy. It's not a structural point, so it should be okay to just run that around. Just make sure we've got the front there. And just round the other side. Okay, now we've got our trusty elastic bands, so we'll give that a slide up to there, like so, and just one at the front. Just to give that a little bit of a bite. There we go. So once that's all nice and dry, we'll come back, tidy up all the seams. I have started on the back whilst I was just thinking about putting the Bombays on, and as you can see, I put up to the camera, not a very good light, but turning out quite nice and neat. Okay, I think that's it for all for now, and take care, see you later. Okay, moving on. Cleaned up all the seams, had a little bit of filler underneath the belly there, a little bit tarred by the tail wheel and the bomb bay doors. I don't know if you can actually see that, and also along the top of the fuselage there's quite a bit of a gap, not a gap but a step, so I've filled that in. It's all nice and clean now, and around the tip of the nose, so everything should be okay. Just got a little tad to do and clean up there, but we shall now move on to the undercarriage and see you in a minute. Okay, so we'll make a start on the undercarriage, and first of all it's going to be the mud flaps or mud guards, wheel guards, whatever you like to call them. Now, moulded are the actual, or a representation of the holes on the actual braces. I don't know if you can actually, let's get that centered in the camera, get the light on it, there we go. They're actually moulded in, but if they're moulded, why not have them as a proper hole? So I'm going to just drill these out, and I've also got to do a slightly smaller hole, then we'll come back once they've been assembled. Okay, carry on. Okay, now we've managed to assemble the landing gear, and as you can see I drilled the holes in the mud flaps or the mud guards. Now the instructions say that the wheels have to be assembled inside the landing struts. Now that's going to make that a pain to paint the tyres and the wheels separate from the whole unit. So what I've done is I've drilled out the holes and took out the pins from the inside, so I can now take the wheels out, and I'll use either a piece of fibre optic, which I've got here, which is of the same diameter. You can just about see it because it's fibre optic. So once that I can paint the wheels off of the struts and paint everything and weather up as accordingly, and then assemble at the end of it all. So that'll be the next step. Just a little bit of cleanup to go, just a few little mould lines. Very fiddly in the construction, but once it's all together it's pretty strong. So yeah, it's all good, and we'll carry on. See you soon. Okay, so we're back, and whilst I was painting the undercarriage in the matte black, I thought to myself, must be an easier way of actually having the undercarriage separate, so that masking and painting of the final assembly is going to be a lot less painful, and also that I can do the weathering off the actual aircraft, so that then they can be put to one side safely. I thought, well, how am I going to do this? So basically what I done was I got the two halves of the engine nacelles, and I removed the back plate from the landing gear and put it into the bulkhead as it says in the instructions. Now the other problem was, how do I then get the undercarriage back on? Well, Airfix being the soft plastic, and that there's a little bit of a give when you squeeze the actual legs together, if you can see that. Let me just bring it up a little bit to the, you can see that, and then with the aid of just removing a small section of the actual pivot pins, I can now actually put that inside after everything has been assembled and everything's been painted. I can actually just locate the legs into the back, and oops, I got that upside down, back to front. There we go, put the legs inside, and then just give them a little squeeze, put back onto the pivots like so, and give them a glue, and then the wheels and tyres can be attached, and should be a lot better than a lot of masking and a lot of heartache when you find out that you've missed a piece. So I think we'll carry on. I shall now paint the undercarriage with a light coat of Alclad's polished aluminium, and then once they're dry I'll give them a little bit of weathering. The tyres have been painted in primarily in Tamiya tyre black. I'll pick out the hub details and also give them a slight weathering as well, and I think we'll call that a day for the first update. Hope you enjoyed it, and take care, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.